Danger Dolan. Tom Kleiber asks, "Hey DD, what's your opinion on the Garrisons? I think they could be pretty unique if they keep them out of the multiplayer aspect. Don't want to have to just hang around my garrison defending it every 5 minutes. I was never big on pet battles, and I'm afraid that this is just going to turn into another one of those, where I just won't care." Well, if you're hoping for something other than pet battles or the Sunsong Ranch, then think again. The man in charge of all this, getting you back out into the world, is Corey Stockton, and he's quite a fan of the more casual side and more like optional content that has some relevance and is fun for a specific audience. No coincidence that he happens to play a lot of Animal Crossing, and elements from his creations can be found in Facebook games and Farmville. And a lot of that kind of thing works, and since Warcraft is such a massive sweeping game that kind of extends into different genres and tries to appeal to a widest audience as possible, there's nothing wrong with including these kind of things in the game. Now, I'll assume you guys have watched the live stream from BlizzCon that explains Garrisons in depth. If not, I have it linked in the description box below, so you should check that out before you watch the rest of this video. Now, as they've explained, this is the Warcraft version of player housing. It also attempts to fix a few little problems. It attempts to fix professions a little bit. It makes it more akin to the Star Wars The Old Republic system, where you queue up a companion to do a task for you, to go out and get some minerals, or go out and kill some monsters and bring back some loot. Now, I don't believe the Garrisons will be a mandatory thing that your character must do. I feel like it's going to be as optional as the ranch, maybe not that extreme. And it's saying that because some of these tasks that you send your followers on encompasses such a large span of time, like maybe 4 or 7 days for one of those raids, I imagine this garrison system will have a lot of RNG involved, where you have a chance, a very slim chance, to get something really cool. And in saying that, it's enticing to a lot of players, but nowhere near mandatory, because there's almost no chance you'll get that ridiculously shiny purple mount that shoots flames out of its ass. Now, in future, the buildings and the blueprint drops from, say, dungeons and raids, that leaves potential for future patches and expansions where they might introduce a blueprint for a new type of building and then include it in the patch. Like, they'll have all this work done, and then they can just give it to you in one huge chunk, but not straight away. You have to earn this blueprint. So maybe in the next expansion, if it's, say, an underwater themed expansion, hint hint, Ajara, goddamn, then maybe you could have a water type building in the vein of Throne of the Tides. I would like that very much. So I am super excited about Garrisons. I've always liked the idea of offline progression, and there have been hints recently that your pets and mounts could roam the gardens of your garrison. Since I have upwards of 300 pets at this point, I have not stopped collecting them from around the world yet. The thought of being swarmed by 300 of these glorious little fools is very enticing. But the best part of Garrisons is that you choose the zone in which it is based. Now, previously I've talked about guild airships hovering above a zone of your choice, and this is basically that, but on the ground. And pretty much every zone I've seen from Warlords of Draenor looks fan-fucking-tastic, and I'm very critical about my zones, because if I see one that I don't like, I'll be like, that looks awful, Zangarmarsh. Of course, now come the concerns that they've been building up towards this. They had the Sunsong Ranch as a test. They've said many times it was kind of like a very, very small player housing, and Garrisons is that times the 1,000. But I feel like they missed the mark. One of their major focuses for this expansion is about bringing players together, right? Now, relating back to the original comment by Tom Kleiber, making this Garrison multiplayer would potentially be a bad idea, but only if it's PvP based. If you do have to defend your garrison, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And if you make it so that a lot of random players can zone into your garrison, then that takes away from the major cities. But then what about guild housing? What about for just your guild members? They can all zone in to this one garrison. This is just like with the Old Republic, where they say everyone gets their own starship, and suddenly starships just lose their sense of value because now everyone has one. Whereas with guild housing, you could set assignments for each member of your guild. You could bring them all closer together. Of course, they have mentioned that they've thought about guild housing, and the reason they kind of didn't really go in that direction is because they want to be careful with the tech, right? But then they're taking a huge leap in the direction of the garrison. And I truly honestly see no reason why they couldn't just open it up to just guilds instead of one person. Like the Sunsong Ranch was a good test. They know they've got the tech in place. But giving one player an entire town, essentially, it seems excessive. This isn't really a criticism of Garrisons as a whole, but it's a hope that one day they will push forward and go a bit further with it. Then it would be 100% perfect instead of 95% extremely good, which is what it is now. I'm also wondering why they didn't incorporate your alts into the garrison. You know, make them work professions if they already have it. In fact, you can make garrisons account bound and have your other characters zone into the exact same phasing. It just seems bizarre that it's for one character. You're making progress on one character to build an entire town, whereas you got all these other technically followers on your account that could help out, but they won't. It seems to me like they're building it up so that every one of your characters on your realm is a self-centered jerk, all in their own little towns, not contributing to their guild. It is strange, and I can only imagine it's some kind of technical limitation. Good God, I really wish I could look at WoW's engine. And some people have speculated that it might hurt major cities if people are all crowded in their own little towns now, but they've always got a workaround for that. I mean, think about when they introduced Shatrith or Dalaran. They make it so that you have to go to a major city like Orgrimmar or Stormwind to go to the auction house or the bank. I'm sure it'll be the same thing here. They'll give you some other conveniences like portals maybe, or maybe you can like build a cannon in your town that shoots you directly to a raid's entrance. That'd be sweet. And maybe one day, there's gonna be a building that you can create, and you go in and it's like a crystal ball, and you click it, and you can have like lore videos pop up that tell you about all the stuff you've missed over the last 9 years of the game that you can't go back to anymore because it's old content. I have no idea why I'm trying to shoehorn old lore catch-ups into the garrisons, but overall, looking forward to the entire experience that they've got planned for Warlords of Draenor, and I hope it bleeds into other expansions. That's it for this chat box. If you'd like to see me cover a gameplay topic really quick, leave a comment below. Have a good one.